Guys, welcome to HDL Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Riggi, and today we're going to dive deep into something truly extraordinary. This is the Celestial Symphony that August 2025 has orchestrated for us. So this isn't just some astrology forecast. This, guys, is an alchemical operation revealing to us in August. It's a cosmic roadmap. And it's profound spiritual transformation for each of us. And it mirrors the ancient mystic tradition of the great work. We're going to get into each of those things. But before we begin, I want to acknowledge something important. I know we live in an age that's saturated with spiritual bypassing, toxic positivity, and that's not what we're about here at HDL Podcast. What I'm sharing with you today comes from super deep esoteric wisdom traditions. It's drawing from secret mystic traditions, alchemical teachings, and it combines genuine astronomical events that are actually happening right now this month in August. And that curriculum that we see up in the skies, it's committing us to view it, to understand it, and then to see exactly what's happening. It's not cosmic punishment we always hear about, and we'll get into Saturn and all those different things. But it's like, what resistance patterns do I have? What do I consciously choose in my life? Is there a divine architecture? Is there something that needs to house my expanded consciousness? This is the foundational truth. And this underlies everything that we're going to discuss today. As above, so below. And I know you've heard this poetic phrase and you've seen it all over TikTok. But this is cosmic architecture made manifest. So explain it, Jason. Well, the universe breathes like this living, conscious entity. And we as human beings, we're the microcosmic reflection of that. And pretty simple kind of to understand, we're an individual like a liver, a spleen, a tongue, a foot, a hand, but they all make up this one body. And our inner world, the thoughts we think, the emotions that we feel, the spirit that vibrates within us, all of that thing creates a symphony within the celestial sphere, in this living conscious entity, the universe. So when the cosmic string on the big ukulele of the universe is plucked, our souls respond in harmonious resonance. And so this month, the cosmic instrument is playing a melody you haven't heard before, and that's the sacred mirror of existence. This is allowing you, as the planets are moving around and dancing above us, as we begin to understand what is happening in the sky, and as we look at the sky as our spiritual teacher, it begins to create this transformation in our inner world. A good way to do this is each morning, step outside it. You need to get light for your eyes anyways. If you ever hear Andrew Huberman, he talks about this. But, place your hand on your heart and say, I'm ready for this inner world transformation. I'm ready. And as the universe is aligned, so am I. Want to be aligned to that so that I can learn, evolve, and be my fourth density, my best self. This simple ritual, just by doing that, guys, it creates a conscious participation. It allows you to integrate with the cosmic rhythms. And we see this all the time. It's like this victimhood, this passive victimhood to circumstances. Oh, I can't believe my mom was this way. Or if only my boyfriend would have done this, then everything would be totally different in my life. That's not real. That's just passive victimhood. It's not you being the creator and you being attached to all the energy in the universe and in the sky. So let's look a little bit more. I want to get into this part, the great work Unveiled. So what are we witnessing in August 2025? Why is it a perfect celestial map? And why did the alchemical process call it the great work, the sacred art of spiritual transformation? So we're going to see the sequence of events that are happening in the sky, and I'll explain those here in a second. They're going to mirror the classical stages of the alchemical great work, and we're going to see it perfectly. First, we have the negreto, and that is the blackening phase of purification. This is where Saturn forges the vessel of our character. It's through discipline, it's through dissolution, and it has to reveal the false self to you through shadow work. Then comes the cognoscito, And I don't know how if I pronounce it as Italian or Latin, whatever. It's the sacred marriage of opposites, where Venus and Jupiter this month, guys, are going to unite, and they're going to unite love and wisdom. And this is going to be an alchemical wedding of the soul. And then finally, we return to the prima materia, and this is the fertile void. This is where the black moon in August opens portals to the primordial darkness. Now, this isn't like demons are going to come rushing through or anything like that. In the primordial darkness, new consciousness is born. So this great work, Unveiled, it's identifying and helping you to be able to understand through these three processes. And for you specifically, what I want to share with is during this month, identify one limiting belief that no longer serves you. That blackening phase and understanding what no longer serves me. And then what is one area where I need to balance love with wisdom? The second stage here. And then one intention that you want to birth into reality, the prima materia. And each of these should be put on a separate piece of paper. And I encourage you, I have a little altar outside, a sacred space, but put that out there and understand you're giving this to what is happening, this cosmic council. Here you go. Here's how it happens. And here's what I need to work on. And I want to get into this a little bit more. I want to show you the cosmic council as it convenes. This is actually happening in the sky. This is not bullshit, guys. In early August, we have a remarkable 6-planet alignment in the pre-dawn sky. What do you mean? Listen to me. Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune all gather in this celestial council. And they're going to be getting together and calling our inner faculties to attention. Now, of course, this is going to be beautiful to look at, but it's even more than that. This cosmic convergence is preparing us for the profound work ahead for each of us. And each of the planetary forces that are aligning contribute their own unique energy to this alchemical process. So what does that look like? We look at this and we say, okay, what is the cosmic council convenes? What does that look like? How do we create an inner council practice? Meditation is a great way to do this. And you're like, Jason, I can't meditate. Yes, you can. Let me give you a 5-minute meditation right here on this. Jupiter. Ask, that's the highest wisdom, Jupiter's wisdom. Ask the highest wisdom, Jupiter, then your heart's truth, Venus, and then your disciplined self, Saturn, then your innovative spirit, Uranus, and then your dreams, Neptune, and your communication, Mercury. Ask what guidance they have for you for that day. Listen. It's pretty simple. Just listen and act on their collective wisdom. They're all coming together. Have that conversation. And if you need to, look each of these up and it'll help you. Wisdom, Jupiter, heart, Venus, sacred feminine. I'm going to get into these a little bit more. Discipline, self, Saturn, innovative spirit, Uranus, dreams of Neptune, and communication of Mercury. And I'm telling you guys, you're going to be amazed at what's going to come through. So let's get into Saturn. Everybody wants to, diss on Saturn. But the journey always begins with Saturn, doesn't it? And on August 6th, Saturn's conjoining Neptune in Pisces. And this is where we need to completely reframe how we think about Saturn. Because Saturn isn't this cosmic killjoy. And I know a lot of pop astrology out there makes it out to be like, oh my God, Saturn this is negative, Saturn this is negative. No. In mystic cosmology, the Saturn period was the very first of the 7 great evolutionary phases. This was the time when the Lords of Flame radiated from their own being the very first seeds of what would eventually become our actual physical bodies. So Saturn creates a limitation or a stepping down into densities. And if you don't understand densities, study the law of one. Just type in law of one raw. They give a really good job of understanding densities. And it's not punishment. It's actually a profound gift. It creates the necessary vessel that houses us as humans, correct? This limitation or the stepping down in density gives us this house. And in this house, it creates the individual, Jason Rigby, and the self-aware spirit, my higher self. And this is the beautiful part about it. I want to embrace one difficult thing that a lot of people don't understand is that there's responsibility that you're avoiding. If you want to gain spiritual strength training, You've got to have courage, have the challenging conversations, do the financial planning. I don't see how many people are so horrible with their finances, but yet they're so spiritual. It's or health discipline. Like, this is a body that's been given to you. You need to have reverence for it, right? The Bible tells us that. So when you know that Saturn's pressure is on you, know that it's creating the diamond of your character, and that these responsibilities that you have that you want to just woo woo and not care about, I'm just going to trust the universe. No, no, no. That's not the way it goes. The only way you're going to be able to understand this, and I want to get into this a little bit more, is the Negredo, the sacred dissolution. This is Saturn's influence. This is the alchemical blackening where raw material undergoes intense purification. Don't you think that's you? Some of you are going through this intense purification right now, aren't you? This is the courageous work. This is us facing our limitations. This is our karmic patterns that we're dealing with, the generational curses or the things that our ancestors didn't deal with that we are doing now. This is our deepest shadows, the shit we don't like. Instantly, we can think of stuff. It's like, oh, I treated that person really bad. Like, I got away with this, but, oh, this was horrible. I can't believe I did this. You know, we all have that, don't we? And here's what I want you to understand. The challenges we encounter under Saturn's influence, they're not obstacles, guys. They are our spiritual path. They forge the alchemical vessel, which is our soul, and they make it strong enough to hold the brilliant light that's coming. You have to have that strength. And how do you have the strength? By understanding that you cannot build the temple on uncleared ground, can you? And Saturn provides the secret hammer and anvil. We've all seen that, the sword, and you got a hammer, the anvil's out there. You're the sword, right? That raw material that's just getting hammered by Saturn to create this amazing sword to be able to do the work, right? And when we practice shadow alchemy, writing down in a journal is really good. I like to write down judgments of others. It's really easy for me to see me judging others because I do it all day long and all of us do it. Right? But I can look at it and be like, I'm really judging Jim. I'm really judging Brittany, and I don't know why. But this is a question I always ask. This is shadow alchemy working. How does this judgment reflect something I'm unwilling to face in myself? Write that down. How does this judgment reflect something I'm unwilling to face in myself? So you transform criticism into self-awareness. That's an alchemical process. You're using every trigger as a mirror for you to do inner work rather than evidence of others' failures, because they're on their own spiritual journey. And I have nothing to do with that, correct? All I'm supposed to do is be love, right? And selfless. So let's look at the next one, the celestial wedding. Now we come to the heart of this month's transformative potential. August 12th, guys. It's August 12th. It brings the conjunction of Venus and Jupiter. The two brightest planets are merging into what's going to appear as this single brilliant star in the pre-dawn light. Isn't that so cool? There's a celestial wedding happening. And this breathtaking, it's going to be literal and metaphysically, is occurring in Gemini. And this is the sign of the celestial twins. So this conjunction represents the sacred marriage of the purified opposites within the soul. Well, what does that mean? The purified opposites. It's a heart-mind integration. And I like to do this when I think about this, and we're going to get into the love and the wisdom and the Jupiter here in a second, what that looks like with the merging. But love and wisdom, what is that integration? What is the choice that I can make with not choosing pure emotion or not choosing cold logic, but blending that wedding together, having those two come together, the cold logic, the masculine, the pure emotion, the feminine, and creating a balance. How the yin and the yang, the black and the white, right? And creating this balance. What does that look like? The king and the queen united. Jupiter represents the king. Now, what is Jupiter? The king. It's masculine. It's expansion. It's higher wisdom. It's faith. It's the benevolent philosophical mind. Now, what is Venus? She embodies the queen, love, beauty, harmony, the sacred feminine. And her very symbol shows spirit resting upon matter, spiritualizing the world, right? This is so good, guys. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about this. And we know in Genesis 1 that the Holy Spirit moved upon the water. It's resting upon matter. That's what these teachings, they all teach this. And this marriage that's happening creates heart-centered, expansive consciousness. Because here's the truth. Wisdom without love becomes what? Tyrannical, right? Love without wisdom remains directionless. So when you move and merge these two, when they move together and they come together, they create the true goal of the mystic. So what is the true goal for each of us? It's integrated heart-centered awareness, isn't it? That's the goal for me. That's the goal for you here in this third density. That's what we're to work on. Integrated heart-centered awareness. I want to make it real practical. How can you do this? Wisdom, love, wisdom. Ask yourself before you speak out, am I about to share wisdom without love or love without wisdom? I'm kind of being critical right now. I'm not going to do that. What does conscious communication look like? Conscious communication honors both truth and compassion. It creates space for others while maintaining healthy boundaries. That's someone I want to talk to. That's someone I want to be friends with or partners with. So let's get into the next part. This is really cool, guys. The Rose Cross Awakening. And there's a lot of mystic teachings, a lot of different paths that go across the Rose Cross. There's multiple. But what is this? The blooming rose at the cross's center. It symbolizes divine potential. And that divine potential begins to open up. The rose begins to open up and unfold within material existence, within this third density. So Venus is the celestial rose, and it unites with Jupiter's divine wisdom in a living enactment of the soul's blossoming. Jupiter's the cross, Venus is the rose. So you have ancient wisdom has always equated the rose with Venus. And this conjunction, they call it, of cosmic activation begins to open up this innermost spiritual potential in all of us. So instead of spiritually bypassing responsibilities, we commit. And this is such an important teaching, guys. Listen to me. We commit to bringing sacred attention to every mundane thing in our lives, every task, whether it's washing the dishes. And how do we do that? By practicing being mindful or having a gratitude practice. Maybe pay bills with gratitude. I am so thankful. This is an amazing practice. Abraham Hicks taught me this, and this is so cool. Start thinking about the people that work at the company that you're paying bills to and how you're blessing them by giving them money. So that company, here's Visa. I'm blessing them. I hope the employees. And you're just saying little prayers of gratitude. It just changes it dramatically, the whole attitude and everything that we have. Well, what does it look like having difficult conversations? We talked about that earlier, right? And this is a spiritual practice, and it must bloom in the cross of daily life. And what is the cross? The cross is the Saturn, the anvil. It's that shadow work. It's doing the things that we don't want to do, the discipline. It's daily. Jesus said that. No, he went to the cross. There was so-called sacrifice, correct? He didn't view it that way because he knew what would happen. He knew the blooming of himself. Jesus, I believe Jesus was a fourth entity being. We get blessed sometimes with those people as they come into, as they reincarnate, they come into fourth entity beings, and then we have these profound features. I think Jesus was that, and you can see this. And I want to get into something that the celestial dew of grace, because what's happening with the Venus-Jupiter conjunction, the preceding meteor shower is reaching its peak at the same time. And you're not going to be able to see a lot of the meteors because of the full moon. It's going to wash out the faintier ones. But their esoteric significance is huge. These aren't just pieces of cosmic debris. In an alchemical text, there's a reference to what they call celestial dew. And that descends from the heavens to quicken the great work that's happening within us. So these meteors, these Perseids, are this sacred catalyst. You can view them as kind of like divine sparks, messages from higher realms. And they manifest as flashes of insight, moments of grace, and sparks of divine inspiration, which we've all had, right? And I love looking at these celestial dews of grace. It's like, I've had this spark of divine inspiration in my life. I've had a moment of grace where I knew that was all God and that had nothing to do with me. I love synchronicities. I love whenever I can see unexpected insights that just come to me and I know that it's coming from my higher self and it creates this divine spark within me. I've had books open up to perfect pages. I've had strangers come up to me and share exactly what I needed to hear in that moment. The Bible says that we can entertain angels unaware. It's this sudden knowing that shifts are everything in our spiritual life, isn't it? So let's get into the next part, which is the fertile void. Now we come to the month's culmination, August 23rd. It brings us something truly rare, and that is a seasonal black moon. This is the third new moon in an astronomical season that contains 4 instead of the usual 3. So, what is the seasonal black moon? Well, a lot of times we view, like we do with Saturn, we view this as kind of this empty darkness. As humans, we fear it, right? But it's not that. This is fertile potential. This is the cosmic womb from which all creation emerges. Think of it. You were super happy as a little baby in a womb, weren't you? And it was dark as could be. That's the cosmic womb. And that's where creation happens. That's where you're at right now in your life, maybe. And you can create this sacred space and understand that it's fine not knowing. I don't need to know everything. I can sit with uncertainty sometime in my life, can I? I don't have to always seek or reach for answers. I don't need distractions in my life. And especially, I don't need a dissolution. Maybe I need to marinate in the mystery and trust that my higher self, that clarity will emerge if I surrender. And a lot of times the higher self is giving you like this window to be like, hey, can how about you have a conversation with me and we can figure this out together? Your inner wisdom, the higher self, I'm here for you, but I'm not going to go against your free will. So sometimes it's good to embrace the unknowing, isn't it? Sometimes it's good not avoiding it and understanding that, in that darkness, there's this creation that begins to emerge from the cosmic womb. And the black moon, and let me get into this a little bit more because this is really cool. It creates a thinning of the veil. There's this thinning of the veil between the visible physical world and the invisible inner realms. Think of it like the baby coming out and then it enters into a whole new world, basically, isn't it? This is a portal to the subconscious. It's a portal to the collective unconsciousness, and it creates realms of pure potential in this creative energy. So this darkness doesn't hide. What does this darkness do? It reveals what lies hidden within us. It's the perfect time, guys, for shadow integration. Not to be feared, but embrace it. It's essential for spiritual growth. And mystics would say that it's an opportunity to touch the root of existence, the boundless being. That part from which our individual spirit and the entire solar system was differentiated into the densities. Use the black moon to practice radical self-honesty and do it in complete darkness. Literally turn off the lights. Some of you can't even do that part, can you? Because that fear is just so gripping. But start maybe with a candle and ask your shadow self, what parts of me am I afraid to acknowledge? That's such a powerful question. What parts of me am I afraid to acknowledge? And I want you to listen and ask your higher self to answer the question. But when you listen, you need to listen without judgment. Welcome all aspects of yourself. These are all essential ingredients in your wholeness. You take a lot of the individual ingredients, flour, sugar, salt, all those different things to make chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate chips are good by themselves. But most ingredients like flour, you don't want to just put a whole bunch of that in your mouth, right? But you put them together, they make these essential ingredients and then create a wholeness, which is this beautiful warm milk, and cookies are amazing, aren't they? When you listen without judgment, when you welcome this darkness, the shadow self, it begins to create this integrated being. And that's the beautiful part. I kind of want to get into intention because I want to make sure I'm saying this right and I'm teaching it right. So how do we work with this energy practically? So I always try to take teachings and make them super practical. HDL, that's what we do, not just stay in the woo-woo ethereal part, but bring it down to the ground. What does sacred space look like for you? Some of you, you need to take a room and make it an art studio. Some of you say, I don't have a room. You could take a corner in a room or a space in a hallway. Whatever it may be, how do you create a sacred space? Maybe it's outside. Maybe you can create an altar by a tree and put a special thing out there. What does a quiet, sacred environment that's free from distractions look like for you? And then how can you take opportunity to light candles, light incense, and try to separate holy time from our ordinary lives, our ordinary consciousness? I'm really trying to create, in a practical way, the sacred art of intention, because this will allow us to enter the void. And when we enter this void, we are able to meditate on emptiness. But in that emptiness, that darkness is pure creational potential. This allows us to release all the preconceived notions, the false beliefs that we were taught as a child, the attachments to the forms of the different things, the titles we put on everything, the labels that we have. And Christian mystics, they call this the cloud of unknowing. And it's really cool to enter this space. And this is a perfect time to do this, because in this state of primordial potential, you can, this is how powerful you guys are. You can consciously plant seeds of your highest intentions into this fertile darkness of creation itself. Think about that. So what I want you to do on August 23rd, put it in your calendar so you don't forget, I want you to plant your deepest intention. Not as a demand to the universe, but as a seed that you're willing to tend with consistent action. And I want you to write your intention down on a piece of paper. You can bury it in the earth. You can burn it, whatever you want to do, whatever you're feeling. But I want you to write the intention down and commit to 3 specific actions that align with this intention over the following month. So from August 23rd to September 23rd, I'm going to commit to these 3 specific actions. And that's your month. Isn't that cool? This is the alchemical journey, guys. Each celestial event builds upon the last. It creates this crescendo of transformative potential. So the question isn't what will happen to you, but how you will consciously participate in this cosmic dance of awakening. And you can track your transformation. You can write daily experiences of discipline, Saturn. You can write when you did love, wisdom, balance, which was Venus, Jupiter. Maybe with the Pisces meteor, the receptivity to guidance, to understanding, that spark that happened in you. And then the black moon. When you were comfortable with uncertainty, my scale it 1 to 10. And I know that may not be spiritual, but for me, I like that, because then I can notice patterns and celebrate growth. I was really disciplined this month, and I'm so appreciative of that Saturn energy to forge me and make me who I need to be. You know, I needed to lay off those cookies of milk, right? Or the love, wisdom, balance. With my partner, I said this to her, and it was Venus, Jupiter. It was that wedding. It was the balance of love and wisdom. And I paused before I said something stupid. And instead I said I had a boundary, but at the same time, there was compassion. And then receptivity to guidance. I had somebody walk up to me. It was kind of weird. And they just started talking to me. And I recognized that this was a divine, this was a divine meeting, the Pisces meteor shower, right? And then maybe I had this financial question and there's this uncertainty with it and I don't understand or know. But you know what? I know that in the black moon, in this uncertainty, in this darkness, that there's creation that's happening. And if I give this to my higher self and surrender it to it, I know that something amazing can happen in this uncertainty. See how that works for your month, guys? Isn't that amazing? So living the Rosy cross. As this alchemical month unfolds, we witness a complete spiritual operation that is happening above us in the stars. So the soul's inner rose begins to unfold, and it doesn't do it in isolation. It does an engagement with the material world's cross. And I want to close with this. And I want to ask these specific questions, and maybe you can write them down. Where will you apply Saturn's discipline? How will you open to the sacred union of Venus and Jupiter? And then what new magnificent self will you dare to be when you plant those seeds in the black moon's fertile darkness? And then living the Rosy Cross each day in August at the end of the night before you go to sleep. Put this on your phone to remind you, whatever it may need to be. How did my soul's rose bloom through today's material cross? And find one moment where spirit expressed through matter. Kindness was giving during stress. Our beauty found, you found beauty and clarity in difficulty. Maybe you were fearful towards a situation, towards your boss or something like that, but instead you offered love. Isn't this the mystical path made practical, guys? Because the heavens provide the map. It's our sacred duty. It's the greatest joy to walk the path. In this cosmic symphony, those planets, all we have to do is attune our hearts. It's an eternal rhythm to us. It's an invitation to consciously engage with the most profound process of our existence. The alchemical process. That process is the transformation of the lead, our base nature, to this gold of enlightened consciousness, isn't it? And guys, that's our journey through the alchemical month of August 25. And if this resonates with you, I'd love to hear about your experiences. I want to know what energies you came through, what happened. So share your insights, share it in our community. And remember, guys, rate and review the show. If it brings you value, then keep seeking, guys. Keep questioning. Keep living at the higher density.